My second-born son is a constant reminder of my wife's affair and I am growing to resent him for it. Where do I go from here? Throw away for obvious reasons. I'll give you full context before I get into my current situation. I am 44 meters, married to 43F. We were high school sweethearts who stayed together during university and married young. From the beginning I have known my wife is my soulmate and I have never desired any woman other than her. Our oldest son is 16. After he was born my wife and I had some marital trouble. Our schedules were off and we struggled with finding time to be intimate and to actually act like husband and wife. During this period I discovered that she had an ongoing affair with a senior work colleague. We separated briefly, but reconciled. Shortly after we reconciled she told me that she was pregnant. I should note at this point that she at first didn't believe she was pregnant as she had gotten her period during the first 12 weeks of her pregnancy. Our second baby arrived and as he began to grow I became suspicious of how different he looked to both me and my other son. My wife agreed to a paternity test and, as I thought, the baby was not mine. I was broken, but decided that as I deeply loved both my wife and my two sons I would do my best to get past this revelation, and I sincerely believed for a while that I had. We had a third son a couple of years later and have since lived a happy life together. My wife seemed sincerely sorry for her affair, committed to therapy, and since then I have had absolutely no reason to doubt her fidelity. Her colleague moved away shortly after their affair ended and they have not been in contact since. However, over the years the situation has started to eat away at me for a number of reasons and I'm not sure how much longer I can continue. It is incredibly clear that the second child is not mine. He looks nothing like me or his brothers. It has never come up in conversation but I do worry that I am a laughingstock in our community. I am a short and slim man. My wife's affair partner was very tall and athletic and the boy has his genes. At age 13 he is already almost as tall as I am. It is very clear that in a couple of years he will tower over me. Part of me believes that the boy is aware of this deep down. He is disobedient and disrespectful at times, far more so than his brothers are. We had a heated row recently that resulted in him trying to get physical with me before I had escalated the situation. This is no worry to me currently but as he grows could cause problems. He is already taller and stronger than my oldest son. They generally got on quite well growing up, but since starting high school he has started to occasionally bully my oldest son who is an introverted and shy boy. This may be the most unhinged one, so apologies in advance. The boy is good at everything. He is already among the quickest and strongest in his class. He plays for a few sports teams where he excels. He is a talented musician and regularly appears on gifted and talented lists at school. I am regularly told that I should be very proud of my son and the itch is becoming unbearable. What do I do from here? Where do I go? I honestly feel like these aren't the thoughts of a sane man but at the same time they make sense. I feel tortured on a day-to-day basis by a constant reminder that my wife sought out an affair with a man who is physically superior and more successful than I am. A man who cast her aside and moved on, and now the likelihood is that I am raising his son as my own. I feel like I am losing my mind. What can I do from here? TLDR, my wife cheated on me and my second-born son is not mine. I have known this for a long time but the fact is starting to eat away at my sanity. I crushed my ex-wife's hopes after she cheated on me. Sorry not Sarensfwa. Bit of background, I'm 36M as of now. The characters have been a bit altered by their names. Rebecca, James, Saladin, Lisa. So Rebecca and I were what you call college sweethearts. We survived college and the hardships of life. Got married in our early 20s. Ever since we got married, things were rocky. Not from the start but situation-wise. I was in medical while she was an accounting major. There were things that was okay with me but was not with her. Despite being married she acted like she was a free bird. 2016, she joins James' company as an accountant because it pays well. I was happy because hey, he's a buddy of mine. Slowly she started to complain about things that were in place. She didn't like where we lived, had problems with everything I did. She did not like the food she used to our fights intensified by a margin where she would call me names. I'm good for nothing. She earned more than me. Drastic turn was here that Rebecca and James were hanging out with our set of mutual friends. I got the word of it and it seemed off. I confronted both of them to which they both said it was a sudden plan and I was in field. Coincidentally, it happened on the same day I was out of city. They might have planned it beforehand which I'm not sure of. 2017, the year my marriage blew up. So I was sure there was something because my bedroom became a fucking dead one. I was increasingly paranoid and whenever I tried to address things I was turned down. Now I'm not a saint. I constantly yelled at her to tell me what was going on because there was just something off. Your favorite person rarely talks or does stuff with you and they claim it's nothing. Does this sounds okay? It was also the year we were at our peak financially because our debts were paid off. My friends and I decided to open up a medical shop that provided medicine shop as a side venture. So one of the friends was Saladin. He proposed that we celebrate it at a pub. When we go there, I notice a girl that looks exactly like Rebecca. She was dancing with another man and it was quite dark. I get a closer look, lo and behold. It's Rebecca and James dancing hand to hand. I wasn't much bothered about it because hey, they're friends. I was here with my colleagues and she was there with her. But it was bothering me. I decided to send her a text asking where was she. She told me she was already at home. Now that was a red flag. I told her to stop lying because she wasn't. I could clearly see her that she was getting paranoid and told me she was on her way. She left the pub afterwards. That night I asked her about James. The look she gave me was as if she saw a ghost because she was not expecting that question. That look was what that told me something was definitely up. If you ask her so about a friend, they should act normally, but the way she acted was abnormal. That night itself I snooped her phone. Curiosity was killing me. The password was changed so I couldn't see the phone. The next day, I saw her password and snooped it. There were hundreds of thousands of texts right there. Countless nudes, calling him daddy, degrading comments. My wife and I made a vow to each other that if there was ever anything we needed to explore, we would be transparent to each other. She broke that vow too. She confided about him how much thrill she felt that night at pub. I went through everything. What hurt the most was she herself told me if one of us ever got bored of the other or needed to spice things up, we will let each other know. She destroyed everything. I couldn't look at her the way I used to anymore. I cried the night and confronted her stupidly without any evidence the next morning. She yelled at me and stormed out after telling me I was abusive and insane. She told all our friends that I was abusive. That afternoon, they created a messenger group where everyone ganged up to troll me. When she came home that night, she told me she was in love with James and wants a divorce. I told her to talk first, but it turned into her berating me. I yelled at her and she called the cops. I was asked to spend the night elsewhere. I went to my sister's and when I returned the next morning, James' car was here. He spent the night here. There was nothing needed to explain. He was doing it on purpose. Hell, she was doing it on purpose. I went to see a lawyer. As we did not have a prenup, she already filed a complaint about me being abusive. It didn't look good for me. Not one did she try to apologize. Not one did she try to make amends. Our country law doesn't count infidelity as a fault. So even with that, she's entitled to half of my everything. But her complaint can sue me up. Few days after that, where I was still living with my sister, Rebecca hit me up telling me we should get divorced. That's it. 12 years of relationship, 4 years of marriage, and she ends it with a text. I was fucking convinced that James was taking my place. She handed me the divorce papers. Everyone from our friend circle was convinced that I was a fucking abuser and James was her savior. She did the right thing to cheat on me. We were officially divorced during the start of 2018. She was already dating James open during our divorce. He was her life. I lost my job, my house, my reputation in her little affair. I had to change the city to move someplace else to restart again. Saladin helped me massively in that fresh start. He got me a decent paying job that was nowhere like my previous one, but it was better than the rest. We became close buddies while I was working to earn back what I had. Dating life was over for me. I just couldn't trust anyone. It was a complete NC between me and Rebecca. Last I heard was she moved in with James. They were doing great. Revenge part. End of 2020, my life was actually blowing up. COVID helped our cause with broken backs but filled our pockets. Our pharmacy venture turned huge, so I was able to make much money. I met a friend of mine from whom I got a tip that James and Reb were done. James cheated on her and left her, but Reb had a child with James. He was absent since birth, so he did not sign the birth certificate, so Reb is raising that child as a single parent. She tried dating, but she was not over me or James. Part of me was happy with it, but gosh, I really missed her. I sent her an email asking how was she doing. She wasn't expecting to hear from me. We exchanged mails and reconnected. Our first meet was in 2021 after several years. She looked like shit. She gained weight, lost the charm, and looked utterly exhausted all the time. Frankly, just her look made my blood boil and triggered me, but I also want to take my revenge on her. Life had already done that on my part, but I'm an asshole. I wasn't done with her. She told me about James and reopened the earlier wounds. I got my closure, which made me feel a bit better, I guess. She said she was sorry. She wasn't thinking straight what she was doing. James poisoned her mind against me. I told her I will forgive her if she comes clean to everyone and clears my name out. She did that, losing a lot of friends, but she deserved that. My name was clean. She wanted us to date again. I told her I would agree to it, but we needed to date and marry first. Only then I will legally adopt her child. That little guy is adorable and I had taken a liking to him. Here is the truth, I was already seeing someone. Pretty safe to say I was cheating on that woman with Reb. She was a client of mine from a different country. We were in a LDR. Reb and I were living in different cities, so I never moved in with her. But I played it well by saying I need to travel for business. So I was only getting Rebecca's hopes up to crush her like she crushed me. We were getting intimate, but condoms were used. Rebecca felt she found love again. I pushed her to therapy to get her be normal again. Everyone was commenting how she was getting more happier with me. She would praise and then say sorry. Do little things for me that she used to when she was married to me. Trust me when I say I had a lot of emotions attached to this woman. I considered my revenge if it was a good thing to break her heart. She might be traumatized for a lifetime. But she did not think of my heart and we were married. Why should I think of hers? Her birthday was coming up last year October, lockdown was eased up and my someone was in my city. For the birthday gift, I grabbed Rebecca for ring shopping. She picked out her favorite ring that I got it wrapped. She was elated because of that. That night, she came up to me crying that she was sorry for hurting me. She looked genuinely remorseful but I had no feelings for her except indifference. Lisa was Saladin's cousin. I already told her everything beforehand. She was against my revenge idea but I managed to convince her somehow. She was uncomfortable with it but understood that I needed to go through it. On Rebecca's birthday, I drove her to our favorite spot when we were married. It's a nature's place. Lisa was already waiting there. I introduced Lisa to Rebecca that Lisa's my GF. Rebecca went white and asked me what does she mean. What is she then? I introduced her to Lisa as Rebecca, my ex-wife and FWB. There and then, I proposed to Lisa with that ring. Rebecca went man and started yelling, to which I replied, how the F can she expect us to work out when she nuked us? I'm never dating a dirtbag like her again. She asked me again and again if we meant nothing. I told her nope. Sleeping WTH her was compensation for the pain. I got her to clear out the pain she put me through. Lisa was holding me back. She saw Rebecca was hurting. I told Rebecca that she needs to leave. She told everyone that I cheated and I was an asshole. This time, I took it as a pride. Everyone saw the dirtbag she was. She cheated on me and made me pay a high price for a falsified abuse. Now she wants me to raise her kid and date her. The last we connected was in December of last year. She wrote me a letter that how much sorry she is because she can't imagine putting me through the pain that she already put me through. She hoped I live a better life. Last I heard, she was completely uninterested in dating. Look shit. As of me, I and Lisa stopped dating. There were differences between us. I'd like to add an edit. People who are saying I'm worse than my ex. Can you please, at least for the love of God, point out how am I worse than her? She cheated. I loved her and she fucking cheated on me. She costed me my home, my job, my image, my reputation, my friends. I was an abuser to everyone. I gave her a taste of her own medicine. Now I'm worse than her. I don't want judgment. This is nuclear revenge and I'm sharing my revenge stories. I may emotionally scarred her, but that's what she did to me.